So we all have those Christmas movies we go back to every year throughout the holiday season, many of which being films and specials we grew up watching. And whether those films actually hold up or we just pretend they do, they still find themselves playing on repeat in the background of family gatherings and Christmas festivities. For many people, the 1964 film Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer is one of those movies, and why shouldn't it be? It tells a classic tale based on a classic Christmas carol, what isn't there to love here? Except the song is like 2 to 3 minutes depending on the version, and the movie is close to 50 minutes. So as done by many adaptations of short stories, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer added a lot of story elements to its runtime, and for some reason as a kid I never noticed how weird the story of this movie is. And if you haven't watched the film since you were a kid, I think you're going to be shocked by how oddly disturbing certain plot elements are here. So the film starts out with the greatest character in any Christmas movie, the Burr-Live Snowman, narrating for a bit. By the way, I just found out his name is Sam and I'm refusing to call him that. But the Burr-Live Snowman does what he does best, just traveling in the snow and telling stories, which is genuinely such a vibe. If I could be any character in any Christmas movie, it would 100% be this one. But through the Burr-Live Snowman's opening monologue, we get introduced to the first sign that something just isn't right in the North Pole. Mrs. Claus is force-feeding Santa. Like, apparently Santa is just naturally skinny, and Mrs. Claus spends all year fattening him up because of his public perception. I feel like a lot of wives try to do the opposite, but for Mrs. Claus, there's a clear motive that by Christmas, her husband will be a fat man. But before you feel too sorry for Santa here, just know he's a terrible person too. In the scene where Rudolph is born and his red nose is revealed, his father Donner assures Santa that the nose will likely go away in time, and Santa responds like this:
"You better hope so if he wants to make the sleigh team someday."
So if Rudolph's non-disabling physical trait doesn't go away, he's basically fucked. And then Santa has the audacity to sing a song basically just about reindeer on Christmas.
Jingle, 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 you will hear my sleigh bells ring.
Like, it's a happy song, but it's immediately after warning Donner that Rudolph might not have a life in the North Pole. It's as if the doctor just told you some bad news and then started caroling. Like, is this really appropriate given the context? So following this, we jump in time a bit to the night before Rudolph goes to reindeer school, where Donner has the genius idea to hide Rudolph's disability. This could at first be perceived as a somewhat misguided attempt to protect Rudolph, but then Rudolph doesn't want to wear it. It's uncomfortable. I'm pretty sure it's just dried mud that he'd have to be breathing in through his nose. So it feels more like Donner's trying to protect his own reputation by covering Rudolph's nose with mud every time they're in public. So every adult in the North Pole so far, awful. Just awful. And it only gets worse from here, because this is where we get introduced to Hermie the elf. So first of all, let's just address that he looks nothing like the other elves. And I mean, this was definitely done to make him stand out because he's one of the main characters, but it's not like all the other elves look exactly the same. Some have a few distinctive features, but all generally look related. He's got long blonde hair and his eyes are more than just black dots. I guess the only other elf that has this feature is the head elf his father? And is that why Hermes even enlisted as an elf at all, even though he sucks? Did his dad just give him the job? Probably not. Maybe those traits are just more rarities in the elf race. But yeah, the head elf really sucks. If I had to listen to him screaming at everyone all day like he does in this movie, I'd probably be gone like day one. And yeah, Hermes inevitably leaves to pursue his dream of becoming a dentist. Yeah, for all the surprised reactions regarding him telling the head elf this, I kind of get it. That's an odd job to want to pursue in a movie like this. It just feels really random to me. There's also the running joke from audiences that Hermes is gay, which is definitely supported by a certain scene at the end of the movie.
Open your mouth.
Hermie, I don't want to!
Come on, open up!
Hermie, stop!
But back to Rudolph, it's the next day, and he's now on his first day of reindeer training, where it's revealed that the secret to flying Santa's sleigh is horniness.
I'm cute! She said I'm cute!
And immediately after that, Rudolph's secret is revealed. Now, the other kids' reaction to Rudolph's nose is to be expected. Kids often make fun of other kids who are different in these kind of movies. But the adult coach saying,
"Come on, guys, we won't let Rudolph in any more reindeer games, right?"
that's definitely a new one. And as Rudolph runs off, he's followed by his new girlfriend, Clary, who it turns out, besides the Burr-Live Snowman, is the only other kind-hearted and rational being in the North Pole. But as is the case with many relationships, the father gets in the way. Another example of an adult in the North Pole hating Rudolph for his red nose, like, what is it really? Something about the societal structure in this seemingly happy, magical place is at its core broken. So following this, Rudolph and Hermie meet up. They also meet this dude, Yukon Cornelius, and they get chased by a big snow monster. Okay, so we've established a solid trio of characters, given them some action to begin their journey, and now where do we go from here? Well, they land on the island of Misfit Toys, an island full of defective toys that were built by Santa, and are also alive. What's funnier is that their defects are totally fixable and sometimes just non-existent. Like, there's literally just a doll. I think the creators realized this, so now it's semi-canon that the doll probably has psychiatric problems. So great. But you also have this Charlie in the box who's a misfit for that reason. His name. Just rename the toy, assholes. There's also a polka-dotted elephant. What's wrong with that? A toy gun that shoots jelly. Just don't load it with jelly. As for the train with square wheels, I mean, first of all, who thought that was a good idea? And second of all, that's pretty fixable. And of course, the ruler of this island is a flying talking lion who tells our heroes the island is reserved for the talking defective toys but grants them permission to stay for the night. Thanks, dude. Following this, Rudolph assumes the snow monster has made it its sole mission to travel across the river to the island of misfit toys, and that Rudolph's nose will give their hiding spot away. So my guy just leaves. Then we get this Lion King-esque montage of Rudolph becoming an adult and deciding to finally come home. You know, it would have been nice to actually see his development and what made him decide to return to the island of misfit toys. Wait, shit. You know, it would have been nice to actually see his development and what made him decide to return instead of the misfit but not really misfit toy subplot, but hey, at least the story is getting more focused again. Rudolph's girlfriend and parents are in trouble, and he teams back up with Hermie and Yukon, who conveniently happen to be in the area at the exact same time, where the movie then decides to give Yukon a fake-out death scene. Charming. Really charming. But the death of this random dude brings everyone together, as just by our heroes telling their story, everyone realizes their wrongdoings and apologizes to each other. Which again brings us this iconic scene.
Open your mouth! Come on!
No meat, no, Hermie!
But wait, not all is lost, as Yukon is alive, and the monster, who's had all of his teeth removed, hey, I guess that wasn't as random as I thought, is now domesticated and happy to help everyone prepare for Christmas. How did they survive, you ask? Simple. Apparently, the snow monster bounced. So this is when more of the plot points you'd expect come back into play. There's a big storm, so now that Rudolph's little physical quirk is useful, Santa's welcoming him to the sleigh team with open arms, and the rest is history. So that was Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. I feel like I've taken a number of years off from watching it, so going back and seeing this movie again, and going over the story and what really happens in this movie, it's strange is the best way I can put it. Like, if you were to just describe the plot to someone who doesn't have any knowledge of the film, it sounds like a bunch of gibberish. Now, do I still enjoy this movie? Absolutely. I think it's a nice little mix of nostalgia and just being taken aback by how I really didn't think twice about some of the odd and borderline problematic scenes that are at play here. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to drop a like and leave your favorite Christmas movie below in the comments. For me, it would have to be It's a Wonderful Life. Happy holidays, and I will see you in the next one.